York Uni's student radio station. URY.
And that was the second part of Kiasmos KEXP session. I hope you enjoyed that. Icelandic duo of minimalist music. We'll be back next week with another KEXP. It's been a very good couple of weeks. In the last few weeks, we had last week Grace Love and the True Loves. The week before that, Daughter, Ben Harper. KSP have definitely been supplying us with very good material. Quick word about that. If you are new to the show and you haven't heard that before, we have a deal with Seattle-based KXP radio station where they let us get access to the whole library of session recording that they do, because in my opinion, definitely one of the best session series in the world. They truly have amazing music, and the whole ethos around making people discover new music is truly great. Young Thugs Records have joined us in the studio here today. How are you doing, guys?
Good, yeah.
Cracking. Never been better, mate.
Young Thugs Record are an up-and-coming independent record label with an eclectic roster of music based in New York. We're here with Dave Greenbrown, who established the whole project, I believe, and plays out in New York as washing machine repairman. Steve Pfeiffer from Coffee Films, who's providing all the visual content and has experience in music management as well. And Danny, who records a Slab and also has a key role in getting everything put together and recording live. So thanks for joining us. I'm very excited to start talking about the whole project and how it's coming together. So we'll start simple. What is Young Thugs Record and how did it all come to be?
Well,
is that too broad a question?
No, that's cool.
Yeah, it started out with me and Dave making music together in the Hovel, which is it's at South Bank South Bank Social Club, and we've been making music together since we were about 18 years old. And then a couple of years ago, we got together in York and we started making music again together. And we just we're just us two. And then we kept saying we need to get some collaborators down and invite some people down. So more and more, we kept inviting different people down who Dave met at open mic nights at Golden Ball in York. And then it just built from there, and we wanted a platform to put our music out on. So we said, what better way? Let's start up a label, and we just got friends and people involved and people we met in York, and it just kind of grown from there.
Yeah, what happened? Has this got to be there?
Yeah.
All right, there we are. Excellent. Right, I'm not used to microphones. I'll shout. I'll only speaking into them. I can shout into them real loudly if you want me to.
You're good,
yeah. What I realised was at the Golden Ball open mic was that there was so many talented people. I couldn't believe how many talented people I was meeting. So it sort of transpired into sort of a project really accidentally. I was sort of just for fun inviting people down to the Oval to record stuff, and then all of a sudden we were recording good stuff. And then we needed a way to release it, and then kept meeting new people around New York to release stuff. Met Steve who did the video stuff, and gradually, all of a sudden, you've got sort of an entity there that can actually create something of creative value. And we're at the point now where we think we've got something of creative value, so we're going to start releasing that stuff. And that's where we're at, and that's why we're here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's clear that it's obviously had a long time to kind of brood and come together. And you talk a lot of Yorkshire's music scene being kind of the catalyst for you all coming together. But what do you feel makes Yorkshire's music scene so exciting?
Well, I wouldn't say. I mean, I'm not so sure about Yorkshire's music scene. It's definitely focusing on York at the moment because there's people that I've met. And I live in York. I mean, I've been amazed by the sort of the community spirit of it all. Really, there's like an acoustic punk scene in York. You go anywhere, and there's people out doing open mics all the time. Never seen it like that. Really, I've lived in quite a lot of cities. Lived in Glasgow and Bristol and Leeds, lots of London and the York. They're all the people who are good out playing together all the time, and that's quite unique, I think.
Yeah, so. Which kind of creates a scene in itself, doesn't it? Which is what we've kind of keyed into, is the fact that everybody plays together, and we just sort of trying to become a hub for that and getting people together to make music. That's how it started. Just have a good time, make music.
It's like the collaboration aspect as well. You know, it's not just bands playing on the same bill as each other. It's people from each other's bands playing together. You know, there's a lot of sort of cross-pollination of bands and stuff, which creates more interesting stuff as different people bring different things to do each track and each project, you know. And you really don't see that anywhere else. I think people take it for granted a little bit in York. Everyone here is like really friendly and really nice with each other, but I don't know, having worked in other places, it's like, bands will be nice to each other and complimentary and but they won't sort of
to the faces.
really cross over
Yeah.
to their faces.
Well, we played in Leeds for years, didn't we? And the music scene in Leeds is lauded, and everyone says how brilliant the Leeds music scene is, and it is. It's great. There's lots of fantastic, amazing bands there, but we never encountered the kind of community spirit or the kind of collaboration that we've encountered in York, really, did we, Dave? Because
No. Oh, yeah.
it was more competition for gigs, and a lot of egos as well.
Well, and just the sort of the setup in Leeds as a city, it's much more disparate, isn't it? Because you've got to go further to go to places. In York, you don't have to. This is furthest I've ever been in York. This up here. Yeah.
But yeah, no, York does seem to be like a very nurturing environment. It really surprised me. It's my first year here, and when you see the variety of like all the music nights and open mic nights and like little studios you can go into record, and I was talking to someone earlier and who told me there's even like apparently like a ska and like a reggae scene, which I'm yet to find, but it does seem very interesting, or like hip hop and stuff.
Snicko dub Thursday night at Snicko Way on Goodrun Gate night. Every night, last Thursday every month. Good night.
Nice.
There you
go.
People do open mic tours in York. They go from like there's like 4 in a night and they just go around them all. I don't think you get that many places.
Yeah, that's really unusual as well. People aren't as into open mics elsewhere. You know, open mics tend to be a little bit more like the less polished acts, shall we say, to people like. Whereas here you've got some really stunningly talented musicians playing open mics together. It's like Dave mentioned the Golden Ball open mic, which is kind of a hidden gem, I think, because it's outside the city walls, which few people venture that far. But it gets such a diverse mixture of musicians turning up there any night. You know, it's pretty amazing, and spoken word poetry and all that kind of stuff going on as well. So it's really cool being able to go out and see this stuff all the time.
We want to talk about a bit as well as about your collaboration. So with Coffee Films, how did that come about? Like the idea of having, you know, the visual medium coming together with like the music.
Yeah, again, that was me and Dan. Really, we wanted to. Right from when we were first doing we sort of started doing like an experimental album just for fun, and we always wanted some videos to go with it, and I asked a few people about that. I spoke to a few people and then I met Steve. I sort of met him a few times before I'd been down to see washing machine gigs, and which is what the thing that I do. And I asked him to come down to Oval a few times, and he refused to come down to start with. He said, "There's absolutely no chance. I'm not coming to a place called the Hovel with some ugly curly head kid like called Dave." And I said, "Oh, fine, right." And so I asked him again next week and said, "Yeah, fine, come down." He came down, and then since then we've done one video, and we've got 4 or 5 others planned out. And then because we were going for that process, that collaboration, sort of Steve by default sort of became part of the label, really. Because it is an important part of the visual side, and also just thinking about how to sort of galvanise it and take it into a place that can be effective for all the great acts that are, which is what we want to be. He's got a lot of experience in that, so whether it'll be of any use, absolutely no idea.
Cheers, man. It's that social media thing, isn't it? You've got to have like a bit of everything now. You can't just have a band photo and a blog anymore. You've got to have a video, and you've got to have a load of photos, and you've got to have stuff.
We very much feel the same way.
Yeah, no, well, it's so critical, isn't it? Because, you know, we were talking about this on, you know, Facebook and stuff. People will share music clips on SoundCloud or something, but I don't think people listen to them very much. But if it's a YouTube clip, they'll check it out. I don't know what the difference is, to be honest, or like just the statistics on how much people look at a post on Facebook with a photo attached to it as opposed to one which is just text. You know, it's humans are like visual animals, aren't they? So I think that kind of thing helps grease the wheels a bit. It helps people take a look at it and get interested in it.
And right at the very beginning, even when we were making our first music, we always wanted it to be. We went through loads of different changes, and we always wanted there to be a visual element to it. I mean, when we started out, we were aiming to make one 40-minute album, and then show it in a little room with
that's one song.
One song for 40 minutes, and show it with a load of visuals, and that's where that kind of came from. And then luckily enough, Dave met Steve, and then it just kind of grew from there.
And kind of as a filmmaker, it's a very lucky opportunity because you're coming in at the start of something and you're not just working one act for a couple of singles off of one album. You're working with about 10 acts and a bunch of other collaborative stuff that happens along the way. You know, so that's exciting because you're constantly trying to think of new looks for everything and stuff like that.
Yeah, again, it's we kind of want to. The objective really for it is to sort of try to. I mean, you don't want to sort of, you know, position yourself in a place where it's not going to be accepted by everybody. But what I'd like it to end up as is some sort of kind of umbrella for anything really in York musically. It's a you know, it's quite a long project that, I guess. I'm not expecting that straight away, but just some sort of way to collaboratively lift the profile of music in York up through it. So and I think we've made an alright start, but it's only sort of a couple of months in. Yeah, so don't get bored of it. Hopefully we'll be able to do something good like that. What is it you for then, doing this radio show? Or are these two just hanging about?
We're heads of the music team, basically.
Right.
And,
how many's on the music
These
team?
are a delightful camera crew.
And
There's 3 of us.
Right.
So yeah, there's 3 heads of music, and then Tom here is part of the video team. He helps us put
Tom.
together the sessions. Don't know if you came across them. We've done 7 of them now. We started the series this time, and we've been very happy and successful with it. And you know, it kind of ties together with what you said.
Yeah.
I was actually reading an article written on a blog by one of the creators of Tumblr, who was describing that effect of what he called a craving for image. And it's true that you see, you know, modern radio stations like the BBC, they do reach out to platforms like YouTube because it's not enough to have the sound. People want to see stuff as well. And that's what kind of motivated us to create this session series. And we had 6 of them, and it's done quite well. Yeah, so we recorded most of them in Studio 2 live on the show and put them on YouTube, and yeah, it's been very interesting for us. So I'm sure for you it's the same, you know, to kind of nurture that image, you know, visual media with sound. That must be an interesting pairing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, music and film goes together beautifully anyway, and I've spent sort of about 10 years making documentaries of different music acts and music videos and stuff. And it's always interesting seeing what kind of, you know, music inspires people in so many ways, and if you're a filmmaker or a visual artist of some kind, then, you know, it inspires images in your head and thoughts and stuff like that. And that's what's always fun about music videos, especially because it's 3 minutes, you've got to come up with a 3-minute idea. Shooting a feature film is great, but, you know, it's 2 years of planning and 2 years of financing and 2 years of pre-production and whatever else, and then you spend a month shooting and it's over, you know. Whereas music videos are great because you spend about a month on each one tops, or a couple of weeks even. You just have the idea, you throw it together and you shoot it, and it all happens really quickly. So, you know, as a creative process, that's, you know, a lot more fun. Yeah, and I think, you know, leading on from what you said about the whole visual thing there, I think, to be honest, now YouTube is as much a place for music discovery as anywhere else. I mean, I think a lot of people are using stuff like SoundCloud or Spotify or something, but an awful lot of my friends listen to music on YouTube all the time, which seems a little bit bizarre because you're listening to something that's meant to be ultimately a visual social network, but yeah, there you go.
No, it's true that, for example, this is I wish this wasn't the example I had to use, but if you take one of the most viewed videos on YouTube, Justin Bieber, and you know, his single "Sorry" made a ridiculous 170 billion views on YouTube, and obviously way less than that on Spotify, and obviously, I don't think
of those were Dave, though.
I don't think it's just because they had hot dancers in the clip, but
I think that's
they would just you know, obviously people are using them as playlists, just posting the video and then waiting, you know.
1.5 billion.
Oh, sorry.
Wow.
Sums it up that it's
Yeah, I need to check my numbers.
Sorry, doesn't it?
It's insane, right?
Call you
I don't even know what that song
Plot twist, I don't actually know how to count. But yeah, and so obviously people are just using them using YouTube playlists just to play music.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does seem to be a very attractive platform.
How have the artists themselves been responding to what you're providing?
It's early days really with that, to be honest. You know.
I think people like a bit of organisation.
Yeah.
I think a big issue, like Dave mentioned it a bit earlier, but a big issue with York is that York never leaves the city walls of York. I mean, you guys are just outside, so... but York University never leaves the campus, kind of thing. It's such an insular place, and in a way that's nice because you get this real community spirit to everything. But in a way it's bad if you're trying to make it as a musician or as a filmmaker or anything like that. You know, people slave away recording an album or a single or making a film or something. They show it, you know, a couple of times in York, and people from York see it and nothing else ever happens. Whereas I think when you come from pretty much anywhere else in the UK, there's an awareness there that you've got to push yourselves a lot farther, and you've got to organise yourselves and get all this kind of stuff together which supports you being a musician or an artist of some kind. I'm not sure people in York get that, or that they really want to do it in a lot of cases. You know, I think an awful lot of people who come across are like, they kind of like to make a living out of this, but they're not really too keen on the whole kind of management and admin and all that kind of side of things, which is a little bit more what we can help provide, really.
Because that's the thing with creativity, isn't it? I mean, I remember when I first started making music, all I wanted to do was play gigs and record my stuff, and it's sometimes people need that little bit of an extra helping hand, or you know, if you can pull resources together, like, you know, how everybody plays on each other's songs, how everybody does all their own little bits. You know, within the label, we've got different people with different experience who can all offer separate things to support these creative people, and that's what it's about.
We're going to take a short break to give everyone a chance to take their breath and keep doing with the interview by playing Bulls. Let's choose Eddie's Cap.
On air, online, on demand.
York Uni's student radio station.
URY.
So yeah, that was Bull just there with Eddie's Cap. What can you tell us about Bull?
Yeah, well, I got to know Tom pretty well from Gordon Ball because he runs the open mic night. Yeah, he's a right laugh.
And that's all you need to know.
Yeah. No, it's a stroke of genius about him in terms of his musical ability. He's been coming down to Oval to record stuff. He features quite heavily on an album that I've been working on recently with some other people what I've met. Yeah, you can't knock his ability to turn a tune out. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Awesome. Right laugh.
They're kind of a classic York band, I think, and that they're really good and really talented and really interesting, but you know, not getting out enough. You know, and it's no fault of their own. They go down to London and play quite regularly, but then, you know, they're playing the kind of the London's equivalent of open mics, where, you know, they go down there and you get exploited by a promoter, sell tickets
We've all
for
done
them,
that.
and never get paid anything for it, or you get paid like a beer if you're lucky or something. Whereas, you know, in musical terms, Bull are kind of ready to go. You know, all someone needs to do is kind of throw a record label contracts at them and a bit of money, and they'd be something
Have you
really.
seen them live? That's not representative really of how they are live. They're a much harder band. I love it, mate. It's great. When you see them do it live, it's fantastic.
They play around the uni quite often, actually, so people should look out for them. Bull playing, they're really great. Really great live
Maybe
band.
we'll ask him to come on sessions.
Yeah, you totally should.
Yeah,
really,
definitely.
they're awesome. They've got a nice sort of 90s throwback sound to them, which, you know, having grown up in the 90s is quite nice to hear. But yeah, they sound really great, and they sound kind of fresh, and they sound fun, and they are fun, and they look great, and you know, they songwrite really well. And no matter what happens at the gigs, they always sound good, no matter how chaotic the gig. You know, if something goes wrong, it doesn't matter. They'll still play and they'll still sound awesome. So I heartily recommend going to see Bull.
Cool. Well, you guys talk a lot about how York is quite isolated, and presumably your label is quite focused in York. Do you think that sets you apart from the larger labels significantly? What are the advantages of being an independent label?
I don't want to. These lads are going to like me saying this, but it's too early to sort of determine that yet. I suppose we're still transitioning it from an idea to a reality. We've come quite far with that, but I won't necessarily, you know. It's a bit of a funny question, isn't it? No offence. I mean, I don't really know the answer to that question. It's rock hard to answer that.
I've heard people say that like the best time to join a project is when it's starting out. Has like that been true for you? The whole process of having to put it together, everything been like an interesting experience for you?
It's brilliant, man. I love startups. I've worked in startups all my life, and this is a startup to do music. Absolutely.
Someone's at the door.
Absolutely loving it. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, it's a right laugh.
Yeah, carry on.
Yeah, I mean, for Dave and I, it was exciting because we originally just got together making music. As we said, we were making one song that was going to be 40 minutes long, and that was the aim of it. Then we started to realise that there were different songs within that one song, so we started chopping it up. And then from then on, we just said, right, what are we going to do with this music that we've got? Are we going to do something about it? And then Dave had been meeting more and more people, so it's grown really quickly. And the benefit of being in there from the start is that we're able to shape it by getting it. I mean, when I say shape it, we're not really shaping it in terms of a sound. There's no particular type of act on there. We're not a dance label. We're not a rock label. And I think that's probably the most exciting thing about being in York is the variety of music that's available. And we don't have to, at the moment, look outside of the city because there's that much going on. You know, it's such a rich place musically and artistically that we feel like we can be a York label because you don't have to look outside for the talent. So and that's what's important,
absolutely.
I think.
It's definitely what I was really excited about when we started, you know, we got in touch and think of doing this. Is just like, and when I first heard about Young Thugs Records, because I think I came across your Facebook share through Sam Griffith, and I got very excited. I was just like, this is like what I've been waiting for. It definitely feels like, you know, like a niche, something that like a gap, like a label that represents the diversity and the greatness that is York's music scene.
Well, it helps maintain that community spirit I've been talking about as well. You know, like I had a music management company back down south where I come from, and we had bands signed from all over the UK and, you know, internationally as well, which sounds really cool. But then, you know, no one really mixed with each other. It all felt a bit kind of spread out and separate as a result. Whereas, you know, the special thing here is like everyone from every band is together in some way every single week. We all end up drinking at the same places. We all go out to the same places. We all go to the same parties, and we all end up in the hovel on a regular basis recording. So that can only really happen because it's a kind of a York-based label, as it were, and we're focusing on those York acts.
Yeah, well, we're definitely looking, you know, forward to your further releases. We're going to take another short break before taking a break for the news. We're going to play Green by Bull. We'll be right back. And I'm here with the Young Thugs record. Unfortunately, Will had to run. We are just about to take a short break for the news, but I think we still have a few minutes to have a bit of a chat. Thanks again for coming, guys. Like we're going to keep going with this in the second part of the show, but yeah, it's been going really well so far, and I mean, this is fascinating, like incredible material for us. Like to have you guys on the music show, it's like my dream come true. So you know, in the second hour, I think I'd like to talk a bit more, maybe about so specifically, maybe it won't be interesting for the two other of you, but like about coffee films a little bit, not too much.
Go for it.
And then yeah, how far along the process is of like, you know, getting the recordings done and plans for the future.
University Radio York. University Radio York. Radio by students for students.
URY.
And welcome back to the second part of the URY Music Show. Unfortunately, Will had to leave. He will be dearly missed, but we'll be back next week. I am joined here by Young Thugs Records, who are recording an interview with us and having a chat about their up-and-coming record label and the whole project. And it's been going really well so far. What do you think, guys?
Yeah, it's good.
You're doing
good, man.
We're doing a good job.
It's the best one yet.
I was just saying, like, before the start of the show, during the start of the show, before you guys got here, this is definitely shaping up to be, like, the best show of the term. I was just, like, way too excited when I was putting it together. We had our KXP session with a band called Chiasmos. You heard a bit of it when you were coming in. They're, like, an Icelandic duo. And yeah,
They sound Icelandic.
Yeah, it sounded good.
And actually, you know, linking to what you were saying, smooth transition. You know, you were with your whole record label. You also have a collaboration with Coffee Films to bring sort of that visual element to the music. Chiasmos actually does that with their new EP that's come out, and the whole performance and like they're touring right now. They actually built a whole visual element to their performance as well, and they've got like this huge screen behind us behind them, but it doesn't even look like a screen just because of how well it's done, and they project on it and there's like clouds and gigantic things on it, and they're sort of like, you know, with like silhouette, almost silhouetted in that thing. But yeah, it's great. So thanks for being here.
Thank you.
And I was just saying before we went to the break for the news, I would like to talk a little bit more about Coffee Films. So you're in collaboration with, you know, so on the whole project to bring that visual medium aspect to the music. Can you tell us a bit more about like the background and how it came to be, how old it is, and like the whole
Sure.
the whole thing?
Coffee Film started out about 20 years ago now, really. Sort of like as a similar collaborative thing as Young Thugs in a lot of ways. It was just me and a bunch of mates kind of making short films with a camcorder. And then it kind of progressed over time. I realised I really liked filmmaking, and so I took it seriously and made short films and, you know, got into festivals and all that kind of stuff. And then eventually people start paying you a little bit of money to do it, and you get to make bigger films and so on. So it all started out as fiction films originally, but then over the last decade, really, it's been mostly documentaries and a huge amount of music content. I spent 8 years shooting a music documentary with the band Killing Joke, which was an experience that I don't necessarily want to repeat, but I'm quite glad I did it, I suppose. So that was a really good time. And, you know, lots of, as I said, I used to partly own a music company down south as well. So I shot quite a lot of sort of short documentaries and music videos with those acts. So coming out of Killing Joke, I really wanted to get back to making fiction films, really. And then Dave kind of accosted me one night and said he was putting this kind of label thing together. And the cool thing with music, as I said earlier, it's the very quick process of creativity. You know, film's got such a slow turnover process to it, in large part, compared to music, where people can sit in a room and half an hour later they've got a finished track. You can't really do that with films. But, you know, if you're working with musicians a lot, then it kind of gives you the opportunity to work a bit more quickly. So we shot the first music video a little while ago, actually, and it was quite a nice process because the track came through and I had an idea within about a week. And, you know, a week later we were shooting it and it was done, you know, which, having spent 8 years shooting a feature film, it was great to spend 2 weeks making a short film. Yeah, so that's it, really. You know, it's nice being able to work with creative people all the time, and you've always got other people throwing in ideas. You know, the track may have originally had some meaning to it for the artist, so you'd like to reflect that, or you want to kind of do something with the kind of look that they have. You want to reflect that in a video, or reflect the specific album artwork that a designer has come up with. So you know, it's a very collaborative way of making films, and very quick. You can't get bored with it because every couple of weeks you want a new project, so that's really cool.
Yeah, there does seem to be like that, you know, to keep an audience interested. You need to have like that regular upload element for them to like keep interest. And actually on that note, like there seemed to be a real diversity from what I saw to like what you're actually going to be releasing, as in like music videos and like sessions and stuff like that. Like, can you tell us a bit about that with like that whole range of
absolutely. Well,
different projects?
It sort of reflects the label in a lot of ways. When we've got together talking about what we're going to do with the label, it's like, whilst we're still not fixed on exactly what we're going to do with it, I think the general agreement is to try and experiment a little bit with what a music label is, because I don't think anyone knows what one is anymore, to be honest. You know, ever since CDs died, no one's been quite too sure what to do with music as an industry. So we were talking about, you know, we want to do conventional album releases, which will have conventional music videos to go with them. But then it'd be nice to do some different stuff. We've been working on doing like live sessions in the hovel, which is kind of funny because it's a room not even as big as this one, squeezing like a band.
Square meterage.
Yeah,
Square meters in the hovel's bigger than this.
You think so?
Do you think?
Square meters.
Square meters.
It's pretty close.
By several meters.
It's pretty tight. It's a safe.
It's several meters bigger than this.
Do you think?
It's higher as well.
I'm going to measure it.
There's more air in
What
the
square?
hovel.
What
If we're
square
talking
meters?
cubic meters,
Cubic meters got more. The hovel's got more cubic meters.
I mean, there's even though I'm French and I usually use the metric system, I really couldn't tell you here.
so it's kind of a small space anyway. So
it's more cubic kilometers than this room. Does that help?
I think that would be a bit too much.
Well, it's a fraction of 1 cubic kilometer each
Yeah.
room, wouldn't it?
The film I'm looking forward to is one that we're going to release in time for Donald Trump to be. Well, who knows? I don't even say it.
Hopefully
I
not.
don't
the end
want
of
to
the
say
world,
it.
sure.
I don't want to say it because the possibilities are so terrible. But we've got a bit of a special video and song coming out in time for the presidential race as well,
Just for the end of the world. Then.
especially for him.
I think it's important. I think it's important with all this stuff. Is being prolific in the modern age. It's important to be prolific, and I definitely want to be able to be prolific. Lots of stuff, lots of different stuff. No genre categorizations.
Yeah.
Dave's really good for driving that, to be honest. You know, he's the one that makes things happen very quickly. And you'll get to like the second version of a song and Dave's like, I'm bored with it, can we do the next one? And so we've been finding other producers and stuff to work with who might want to do a little bit more polish, because sometimes it suits some tracks. But the beauty of Dave is you'll have like 2 hours in the hovel and you'll have 5 tracks at the end of it. Which
well,
is,
that's it. I've been
amazing.
there since 12 o'clock today, and we did 7 tracks. So it's quite fast. I don't know how many of those survive. It depends, But
Yeah, that was going to be like my next question. So obviously you've got all those different like little components of the whole project, that all come together like a puzzle. So like, can you tell us a bit about how far along the process is, and like what have you been doing lately, for example, and how are things coming along?
Yeah. Well, I've got a group that I'm playing with Hannah and James, and it's called South Bank Suicide Club, and it's we've never done a live gig. We're just recording the hovel. We did 3. We only met James like 3 months ago. Met Hannah a little bit longer ago. We just recorded an album in 3 months. That's almost finished. We mastered it yesterday, so we're going to release that. Quite when.
And that's got people from all over York on it. I mean, how many people have collaborated on that?
There's 9 people in total, so 6 people other than the 3 main people. And Tom from Bull's on it a lot. So is Dan from Bull. Bonnie from the Lungs is on it an awful lot. Danny's on it. Kev, the landlord of the hovel's on it. Yeah. So there's
His bingo machine.
So it's really collaborative album, and hopefully it's a really random, funny album as well. It's definitely not a commercial album. It's just if you've got songs in your head, whether they're in your head from history or whether they're in your head that when you pick up an instrument, you should record and release them. Otherwise, I think that's a worthwhile hobby. Yeah, great fun.
Cool. We're gonna take our last musical break. Daddy, I believe this is one of yours. It's Where's Your Data by Slab.
Oh yeah, Slab. Yeah.
Can you tell us about this track a little bit before we play it?
Again, this is a collaborative one that we just put together. It's got Dave, it's got Bonnie on it. I think it's got a bit of Tom on it somewhere, perhaps. Just sessions in the hovel, getting together, making some music. So yeah.
Cool. Let's go for it. Actually, just quickly, so I'm not very familiar with it. Is the hovel the studio recording it then?
Yeah,
definitely.
Because when Dave and I moved in there originally, it was literally a hovel.
Yeah. Okay.
But now
Is it a studio you put together then?
Well, we built it from scratch really.
Well, it's pushing it a bit to call it a studio.
Yeah.
It should be. I've got half decent kit like.
Yeah.
Over years, but you develop this kit, and also you develop the ability to do it quite easily, just because you've done it so often.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, we were gigging in Leeds and all over at 19. Dave and I were. 16, we got together playing music at 16, and then by 19 we were playing gigs all over, and we signed to a little indie label, and then like anyone else, you have to grow up and get jobs sometimes when you don't break through. So I suppose along with Steve and a couple of other people involved, we've got a wealth of experience, and that kind of helped us putting together the hovel and making it more into a studio and making it more into a place where people can come and make music. And I suppose that one of the main things about the hovel is you can turn up, pick an instrument up and begin playing, and you're recording something straight away, and it's the immediacy of it that's so brilliant, because you could just turn up and you're being creative immediately. People just come for an hour and then go again. Come for an hour, put down a piano track, then go to work, serve pints, then come back later, and yeah. It
does seem very exciting. I think I've seen pictures of it like on social media and stuff, and it does seem like a dream place to be.
No, it's a good atmosphere. Yeah,
it's good.
Quite, yeah.
We're gonna listen to Where's Your Data by Slab. And that was Where's Your Data by Slab. Quite different from what we heard from Bull, but definitely very enjoyable. It was like quite experimental, but it's very exciting. Loved it. We're gonna keep chatting. We've got a good 45 minutes. It's very comfortable. I like this.
Stay for 45 minutes, mate. I've got a bath on at home.
you gotta go out at some point.
Yeah. So my pants are bulging.
So I think just to finish this, I wanted to talk a bit about what's coming up, and so your first release, I think, are due towards the end of June, and then all through the summer, right?
Yeah, and just forevermore, really. So I see it as a long-term project. So thanks very much, Xavier. I see it as something that gonna do for up until such a point as I can't do it. It's some food, I might get disease or something.
Sunny outlook.
But it depends on what disease you get, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does.
And whether it inhibits your working.
Yeah, or your ears.
Well, there is that. You could
Some
go
kind
for
of
psych
deafness-related disease would be bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
barring disease, then we're going to just continue releasing stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we originally planned it. I suppose the original release we were going to do was a Death of the Lady song, but again, the organic nature of the label, we might be something else now. I suppose that's the problem with us. We produce music that quickly that by the time we'd filmed the video for Low Mood, we were already moving on with an album and EPs and various people doing different things. So it becomes quite difficult to select what we're gonna release first, and I suppose that's our next job really as a label is to decide on the schedule and what's going to go out and when.
It'll definitely come together. For the next few months, it'll come together, and then there'll be a sort of steady stream of stuff.
Yeah. So is it like for the bands with whom you were? Is it like an ongoing process as you were saying earlier? Like people coming in and out. You still seem to have like quite a. I don't want to say close, like sort of like a few favorites that you're working on. What are your plans for like the future of like? Are you thinking of like maybe when you're done with like those initial release and the project will be out there and ongoing to maybe like integrate more bands who just come to you and
to work with more people, isn't it? That's the aim for all of us, is to just keep working with more and more people. I mean, luckily the people who we're involved with already, they're not precious about who they work with. So I mean, more and more people involved, more bands involved, and we're always on the lookout for new acts, whether that's music, whether that's spoken word. We're open to releasing and experimenting with everything. So we definitely want to hear from people who are interested in getting involved. The more the merrier, really.
Great.
As long as you've got cash.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you do need to get paid. So thanks a lot for coming along for the interview. It's been definitely very interesting and exciting for us.
Well,
and
really great. Thanks for
hopefully we can be on again in New Year. And,
yeah, exactly.
We'll sort some people out to do some sessions for you
absolutely,
as well. That'd be good.
Yeah, no, we're definitely looking to like keep going with all of this. Like keep the music team going and do another season of sessions next year as well.
Cool.